Welcome to the Campfire. Today we are taking a deep dive into District 23 6A. The teams in this district are Elsick, Hastings, Taylor, Alvin, Shadow Creek, Strake Jesuit, Pearland, and Dawson. Let's start off by analyzing these teams in our film session. Shadow Creek are the defending champions as they went undefeated in the regular season a year ago. The Sharks will have a couple serious playmakers on offense in quarterback Ja'Cory Watson and running back Tyleek Burton. Both are super fast and gifted athletes, which are words that can describe just about everybody on the Shark defense. Zion Taylor on the defensive line and Maurice Williams at free safety are two of the best in the state. Pearland Dawson has the district's Offensive Player of the Year, Bryce Burgess, returning in the backfield. The Eagle defense will be experienced and led by Edward Smith and Charles Anderson on the line. Pearland should bounce back from a 5-5 regular season. It was the Oilers' first season under B.J. Gott, and with LaDamian McDowell back as a running back and 8 other starters returning, look for Pearland to contend for a title. Strake Jesuit loses a lot of offensive firepower due to graduation, so expect the Crusaders to lean on their defense to fight for a playoff spot. Taylor will hope the experience quarterback Torian Roberts got last year while filling in for their injured starter will carry over to his senior year. Alvin is on an upward trajectory and could find themselves in the postseason if they get production from athletes like Riley Pavlis. Hastings has 18 starters returning and will bank on that experience to get some victories in this district. Elsick is hoping for a breakout season from defensive end Eric Dadsey as the Rams look for a win against stiff competition. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Do you or your student want a career training the world's best athletes? Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. For an even deeper look at 23-6A, here's producer Ward Fasold and the Houston Chronicle's John Poorman with the district breakdown.
All right, we're talking district breakdown time, and it is 23-6A. I got my man John Poorman from the Houston Chronicle with us. John, you know who we normally talk about in this district is Shadow Creek, as they went through, they went through undefeated for the season, and they seem to be bringing back some serious speed as usual. I mean, that's nothing that's new to you, but they're bringing speed and athletes all over the place. Is this a team that could get that title again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think going into this season that they are kind of the clear-cut favorites here. You look at what they did in district play last year, as you mentioned, going undefeated at 7-0. They finished 11-1 overall for the season, finished the regular season with a 10-0 record before winning a playoff game and ultimately losing to a really good Summer Creek team in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, Coach Brad Butler and his staff have done a fantastic job with this program really since its inception. We all know about the state championship that they were able to win early on in the program's infancy. But yeah, they've just kind of continued that winning tradition down there.
Besides Shadow Creek, what are we looking at here? I think the two Pearland teams are going to be nipping at their tails for sure, right?
Yeah, definitely. This will be the second year for Pearland under Coach BJ Gott, who we all know won a state championship at Peyto before coming down to Pearland. So, I would definitely expect with a year under his belt now and with those players knowing the expectations that he has, I would expect some improvement out of that program for sure. And then you look at Dawson, they've got some talent as well. They played a really tough game against Shadow Creek last year in what was kind of the de facto district championship game. And, so I like what they're bringing back. So I mean, I'm looking at those two teams as the primary challengers to the Sharks right now. And, for good reason.
So we'll see how it turns out, and we'll talk with our last 6A district next week. We'll talk 24-6A.
Sounds good.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now let's take a look at some game changers and our Players on the Rise presented by Parker University. Pearland Dawson running back Bryce Burgess will be looking to repeat as the district's offensive MVP. As a junior, Burgess ran for just over 1,000 yards and 16 touchdowns while proving to be a weapon in the passing game as well. Bryce caught 21 balls and 2 more touchdowns. With only 4 starters returning on offense, Burgess will provide much-needed veteran leadership. He's got offers from Incarnate Word and Texas Southern. Ja'Cory Watson will be Shadow Creek's full-time quarterback in 2023. He subbed in for an injured Duke Butler last year and threw for 952 yards and 13 touchdowns. Watson was also the Sharks' deep play threat as he caught 12 balls and 8 of them went for scores. Jacory also ran for 4 scores, so expect him to be a formidable dual threat. Watson has offers from LSU, Oregon, and Texas, among others. On defense, Shadow Creek's Maurice Williams is one of the state's elite defensive backs. Williams plays free safety for the Sharks, but most see him as a linebacker at the next level. Maurice had 43 tackles, 3 fumble recoveries, and 2 picks as a junior. He'll always be there for the big hit and brings the quickness head coach Brad Butler expects of his defensive starters. Williams verbally committed to Houston. Pearland's last line of defense is safety Ashton Hampton. He made 53 tackles and picked off 5 balls as a junior. As the Oilers continue to create a new culture, Hampton will be key to the resurgence. Ashton has long strides, so it's hard for a ball carrier to run away from him, and he even scored a touchdown in the special teams. Hampton is verbally committed to Texas Tech. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. Our Ward for Soul cut up to Pearland head coach BJ Gott to talk about his Oilers and the rest of 23-6A in our Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day, and we are joined with Pearland head coach BJ Gott. We're talking 23-6A as we get inch closer to the start of the regular season. Coach, last year, I'm assuming last year and this year is a little bit different for you as far as getting into the regular season, as you've now got a year under your belt. How were the growing pains and the learning a new school and all that stuff went for you last year, and what do you expect to change a little bit this year for you?
It went well. We expected there to be an adjustment period, coming in, making as many changes as we did. We had a large staff turnover. We changed a lot of things offensively, defensively, special teams wise. Off season was different. Spring was different. Summer was different. So, yeah, there was a lot of change, but the community bought in 100% from day one. The kids bought in. And so, although we've had a transition, it's been good. And so now, so a year later, things are a lot easier. The kids understand our schemes. The kids understand our expectations. The kids are more prepared. So no, we're moving in the right direction. We still got a long way to go, but we've made a lot of ground in the last year.
I know I talk about growing pains, but you're still a 5-2 district team. You've still made the playoffs. There's still, in everybody else's eyes, still a successful season. So, and you talk about 2023, you've got so much coming back offensively, especially, you got the newcomer of the year coming back in the backfield. You got a quarterback coming back, receiver and Patrick coming back. Talk about how you might be able to build off of last year with so many guys coming back, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah, on the offensive side, we do. We've got 8 starters coming back. We've got key components in the run game and the pass game. And, for us, it's about continuing to develop our offensive line. We're going to have 5 starters back there. So, continuing to develop those guys to where they play with a little bit more of a physical presence up front. And then, us being able to get the ball to our playmakers in the backfield and out on the perimeter and just maximizing their ability and taking advantage of that while developing some depth is going to be what we're focused on.
I appreciate you joining us, and we will see you coming up in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Ward. Appreciate it.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we will dive into 24-6A. Until then, have a great week, everybody.